Just monitoring support.
Hi, Journo, this is Josephine from Day Old.
You can't feed kids brownies every single morning. That's not going to have them learn, but it's something that someone working in the office would really like as a treat.
Now they justify why they can't give this deal in the food just directly to people, because like you can't give them brownies and different taste of food every day. So that's why they are taking the money to buy nutritious food.
How are you doing?
Sorry, I got lost on the subway.
Yeah, but cool. We got free boxes and some cards. Yeah, we got some really nice Prussian cakes. So that's to be very sweet.
Because I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you because I've had them. Yeah, follow us on Instagram, tag us, and let us know, and how we can improve. For this purchase today, you're sponsoring about 35 children who otherwise won't have access to breakfast before going to school. And it may sound like a small thing, but it actually has a big impact on their attainment and their development. So we're making sure that every kid can go and learn on a full chance and a full stomach.
The only thing that we can do is that we have to hustle. We just have to do whatever we can do to achieve the goal. Sure, I also have. That's the only way to really come about sustainability. Everyone do a little bit, and that little bit becomes a big bit. You don't have to have a lot of money in life. You don't need a lot of things in life, but you need to live the way that is true to yourself.
Thanks, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm collecting around
In life, you don't need a lot of things.
Watch this part. Okay. So now we went through the opening, we went through the content behind it, a few things that you might have lost focus on. But now we are coming to another important part.
Becomes a big bit. You don't have to have a lot of money in life. You don't need a lot of things in life, but you need to live the way that is, true to yourself.
Thanks, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm collecting around
What was the ending? Basically, all that is the closing part. Since you don't need money to do the things you want, you just need to prove yourself. And that's how she's bringing up closing point to her. Right. So now you all understand the emotional aspects of things, and right? Of how she went through from the beginning to the end. To show you all have an idea, but with that mindset, with that particular mindset, now it's time to think a little creative, and let's all do some research on how the internet has benefited the world to do good, and what are the tools that are being used. And we need to open up now. I know immediately on how do you start, where do you start, use this as a practice. Okay, so if you all need notes on it, that's great. If you all have any problems, feel free to ask me or to discuss amongst your meeting. And then after that, we will all
Most I was asking whether they have many language barriers because they told me that they don't understand.
right. Okay, then why don't you can speak Tamil? You can help me.
Yeah, but they are okay now.
Are you sure? So why don't you try?
And only that one more thing, they are our seniors.
Okay.
So they are active.
What?
So if you try to keep up with them, that's the best you can do. Right? So fine. Then let's start working on that. But also let's start working on a particular idea, a cause. So think about after this article is out. Think about how you all are going to do something for a cause, and think about the cause. Now, food wastage is not, you can't do that. So think about something else, but in the meantime, let's start researching on how the internet is beneficial to people, the tools of the internet, and I'm going to use that to to work with the class and make sure everyone shares information. Alright, let's get started. So now it's 11:22. So if you are having language
So
barriers,
can they do it in singular?
yes, you can do it in single. Single question.
Not singular.
Single, do it in single. If you are not doing Tamil, do it in Tamil, but I think earlier you speak Tamil. Okay, you guys Tamil, right? Can you help me? Just Tamil? So do it in Tamil. Okay. Yeah. So we get started. It's 11:22. In 20 minutes, let's take a look at the research. Okay. So context, how the internet has evolved and benefited humanity. Journalism. You know, a lot of focus on how the world internet is making the world a smaller place, or journalism, but anyway, okay, this picture of research facts about internet, like interesting, and take it from there.
So do you want us to put a pause?
After this, first one is research. Yeah, first one is we are going to research about the internet on the internet.
Okay.
After that, we are going to go. So I was asked to go through this Google Classroom, basic stuff which I'm pretty sure you all already know. But we will do that in the evening session. Right now, we already have this community. So we will start use the test outs.
Birthday. You have to get ready to spend the money. It's a birthday, so she's taking fun for the lunch.
We still don't need to talk. The things. So let's shall we get cake?
That's why you wanted to get a cake.
You went to look at the price, right?
So I went to get breakfast.
Same time you were looking at the price.
And I researched all the evening, about oh my God, that is such an exception here.
I trust the Guardian a little bit. Yes, I'm happy.
The Guardian. Oh, yeah, it's a Guardian.
It's not my private source.
That's what the source is. Very safe. Is that a layout? It's not about journalism, but what you said.
Small thing, guys, if you all want information, you all can use things like Reddit, then Wikipedia. I've seen some people on Wikipedia. And if you all have other more advanced ways,
You have it, yeah.
Emotions phones also, phones on the calls from. Can I give a research for that? But we are all trying to opinion piece. Not opinion, also peace. On something. We are speaking like friends.
Yeah. No, it's the audience.
Yeah.
Audience interaction. It's kind of
Like conversations.
audience interaction.
Put it in a sentence.
So, multiple So that use when we use multiple sources and because this is about research. So it's about research. So collect your sources. Critical sources. Critical sources. Collect your sources. While you are studying, just make sure you
Yeah, so that is professional.
We are looking for things that we have come up with and how has like these are methods that the region can use actually. I think it documents significant incidents as the it has actually we can say oh this has happened, it has happened as an example. So how has it helped us? Yeah, so this example thing happened and therefore the event has in fact hurt us. So there are source. Yeah, so right now an example. So I think that's
First cite the example and the source, and then how that situation will be affected. Okay,
a situation is able to asking
okay. What else
Shall I find the comments?
Yeah, okay.
So in 5 minutes, let's have a quick review of your sources. Okay? Continue with 5 minutes, we'll stop working and we'll have a quick review of how things are going.
So live listening, but we don't went live.
It's like call for like something they even say that but it says that environment between journalism is that information was it says digital media keeps you socially active. Globalization, did you hear that? This is all the
How is it affected? It's a problem.
What's the difference? Organized and just quick upload.
overload and advertising. But it was and I think another is the constitution of journalism through the internet is where the constitution is high.
Can we have a quick stop on what things are happening so that we can share and can share our knowledge amongst each other because that will help everyone to move forward. Okay, so can we have an explanation of how things are happening with that group, ladies? Okay, so can you explain what you all are doing to the rest of the class and quickly.
We just got another point.
As per Guardian, a pro we found about media on the internet is there's less government intervention,
Right.
and the process before the story has been transformed. Before you upload a story,
Right.
the procedure is different, as well as the cost of distribution has decreased.
Right? Yeah, but tell us a little bit about how you all are taking this challenge of research on the internet, what are the sources you all are using, and how you all are getting about it. And then especially tell me the sources you all are.
This is Guardian. The
Like
Guardian.
how you have to write an article about the internet and you all have to research about it and do it, right? So how do you all take, how did you all start? First thing what we are doing.
We Googled it. Yeah, we Googled
Google the topic and then we try to find the most credible site. So which is why we went with the Guardian. And then for points in between, we went to sites that were not commonly known, something like the site that we use called MyIon, but it had a lot of points
Right.
that was not discussed in the Guardian.
Right, okay. So what they have done is their approach is they went through this most simple way. They went on to Google and they searched a topic. Then they selected because journalism is a thing you can't teach. You can only learn. So like what they did was they went and they selected the most credible source and then they selected certain unknown sources and what you all are doing is you all are verifying and checking cross-referencing between the credible sources and the non-credible sources to find your story in the middle of that. Right? Correct? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you all also can learn something from that and see what you all can do. So one thing you can take out from this, mix and match your because not always the credible sources might not have what you all always want. But if there are things that you all can verify, from non-credible sources, you all can start. So I will all tell us about how, what about how you start. So there's something in the class which they can learn. We'll just see how you looked at how you started.
So similar to them, we just started by proving the
Okay.
I think that we just thought to find a way to capture the audience, I guess is before.
Right.
So like in our age of the internet, how it has become beneficial that it was before.
So their angle is slightly different. Their angle is pretty much they went on to Google and they started finding features about it. So of course you have verified that. So I will start the article from the features from where how you can captivate the internet. So that's also quite good. What about you?
So we tried the keywords initially on Google again. So internet and journalism. And basically we got a bunch of sites that were not as, didn't seem credible, and so we went for sites like this university or education sites, like Maryville University or something, and we got information from that.
Right. Okay. So these people they are using government domains, university domains, and things like that. So to verify that's a very good angle also. If you don't have credible evidence, you can always use universities and all these people who are using who are putting out white papers and things like that. So their angle is, I think all the angles have started from Google. That's where everything starts these days. But what they are using is they are using the power of the domain and they are using keywords to identify where to navigate. So keywords is another very important thing. So along with the internet you can talk about ARPANET we spoke about today. That's a keyword. So you can use that to navigate through the internet as well. So especially through non-credible sources, using these keywords which are not common because I won't say uncredible, like newer sources which are not picked up by the Google algorithm will be on the 50th, 60th page when you go with common keywords. But if you go with uncommon keywords, you might be able to get something new out of it. So that's another thing which they are doing. What about you guys?
So we started a search with Google Scholar. Google Scholar gives us libraries of books and journals and articles based on the topic.
Right.
What is happening there? And we got a small introduction and the introductions of how it was current and how it's going, since how it will influence current this year. And we researched on some information on statistics of how many users there are out there, how many are influenced, types of languages that people search, Google has offered. Then I came across a very important document, the Tabular papers. I think that's a very captivating article. So we went to direct the ICIJ straight to theirs and decide to search it.
Right. Okay, so what you all have done is pretty much all that gone behind like, PDF submissions, that is like, so Google Scholar, and like, and then you have gone directly into things that are, that have like, the media, like, that quite popular there, right? Yeah, so then you have to create a story around that, about how those have changed election as well. So you can like, always use like books that are online also and things like that to get information which you all need. But okay. One angle and the angle is what is the information right. So in fact they are article sources. Question. So everyone has right and correct way forward in doing this.
you know, news,
But I
whatever
know
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if I wonder where did you get that from?
From economy.
Are you posting on Instagram?
No. As I'm elder, you have to first follow. It's Kanchana.
How pretty I am. That's good for you. Who's
You are vegetarian there.
Bazaar, right?
Yeah. Shit, you have to get my name right.
Puzzle. Puzzle.
It sounds like awesome.
I know.
We are hungry for his last birthday.
Hey, can you guys stop stalking me in front of me, please?
Is it?
What is his Instagram? Is it
It's a very long name. Yeah, it's long.
You guys are right? Okay. So shall we start? Shall we start reviewing what we got from these people? Shall we start from this side?
Yes.
Okay. So how would you like to come to the board? Explain what you want to do, your and your findings on the internet.
Okay.
Okay, by the way, it's the presentation.
For Safra, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so Safra is going to us.
No, sir.
Right, yeah, so Safra is going to explain to us about what she found about the internet and what they came up with. How they would do that. Go ahead. And
So the article is in the article about the cause,
about the
about the internet. Ah, okay. So internet and journalism, right? Okay.
how do you
Okay, so after we added all the keywords and stuff,
You got this, you got this. Go ahead, there is no wrong answers.
okay. For me, I have. Okay, that's it. Okay, so basically, what we found out was how, so initially how news was actually communicated to people, or how people got to know about news was the most basic is newspapers. And with the internet, which I believe in the 1990s that they started journalism and the whole thing, right? Okay, so then, once the people started sharing their news online, sorry, that was not my point. Okay, so let me start with the cons, okay? So, one of the cons was that the fact that now journalism is so it's what we've been studying since January is that you have to give balanced news. Right, so balancing is like, so for example, you get some like gossipy something, and usually in Sri Lanka now we have a lot of gossip. And also we have like trade unionists telling that and this and all that, and sometimes they don't always have like credible information to back it up. So in the time, during the era of the newspapers and all, they had time to actually go through the news, like they had time to go through it and verify the news. Right, so for example, if you say Anand Palika, he will say something, and then after that you have to actually contact CPC or the Ministry of Health, Power and Energy, and then after that you sort of have to balance it out to see what this guy is telling is actually true. But with the coming of the, so
So newspapers, that's how it's usually done. But with the digital age and digital journalism, basically, we are so in, like, for example, even in our news, in our publishing agency, we and we have Daily Mirror, Economy Next, and all of that. Everybody wants to be the first to give the news. So they want to break that particular news first, so that they get more views. And oh my God, and then like, say the Parliament starts talking about, okay, Daily Mirror said this, Daily Mirror is reporting this, and blah blah blah. So they want that sort of publicity. Right? So they don't usually verify, they don't always verify it, or they don't always balance the news. So that usually is sort of with the mass media and all of that, that is sort of like really balancing news is really minimal. We also have like, for example, again in Sri Lanka, I don't know if this happens. Am I like on the right track, or am I
So
just
you are talking about your article which you are developing on the internet. Now you have spoken about the content. Now you have to tell us how that's going to benefit the world, and you have to come up with a catchy opening to sell that story.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh shit, okay, yeah. I'm not, I think I was done. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Continue. Finish your
You want to
story.
come and
You started.
Well,
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure
So-
you're going to nail it. He's going to come and meet it and say something you all never discussed. So.
okay. So you want to write an article about the
So
internet and journalism?
content is on how the internet, ways about how the internet will benefit journalism.
Why
So
don't we just talk about pros and cons?
no, everything. So pros and cons are basically based on everything we did. Okay, we have to come up with an idea or our opinionated case on how the internet is benefiting the world, how the internet is changing the world. So pros and cons are a big part of it.
Yeah.
So
You want to come up with a catchy headline?
not right now, but like yeah. So continue continue. And after this class, so now this part is about actually researching.
Yeah.
Okay, so but after this class, as an assignment, we go on and we have to submit this article. And it's a simple article.
So I should be leaving at 2.
Yes, so after the class, as a group,
So when do we have to submit this?
you can email it to me, please, Navi.
You all are okay? Because nothing will be okay with he literally said we'll do that. So, Teruni Ayal. Yeah, cool. So how many words can you have?
It doesn't have to be.
You just-
You don't have to. No, you can do
So
it.
it's like an informal thing.
Yeah, so not an informal thing, it's your 1,000 words, your 100 words, but it has to have, like, it has to have a good idea about how the internet has changed the world. Okay, like, like that documentary you watch. Okay, she's talking about how the food crisis has impacted the world and how it is, and how it's changed, how they are changed. So, yeah, go through all that.
Right.
And but the bottom line is, you all have to do your own, because like internet there are nooks and corners of the internet which will help you all throughout yourself. You don't have to figure those out by yourself. Because like I said, in journalism we can't teach.
Yeah,
You cannot
yeah.
learn. So that's the thing. Okay, so good that like based, I'm pretty sure you all have based on some shit. So continue on and
So this article, basically it's like for like, you have to aim it to sort of like online publishing, like that, the aim is for that.
Yes,
Ah, okay.
yes, yes.
So then you have to come up with like a very, for the keywords thing, you have to come up with a very like a common sort of headline.
Yeah, so come up with something good, talk with your partner, and discuss partner friend. So, I should be careful with the selection of my words, right? Yeah, so, but you all have an assignment to bring it pretty much. And understand the gist of it. I don't need that article to publish it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
make
No, I
I thought you all to really do your own research and identify
You said you lost it.
how the internet can get it. Okay, so why don't we someone from
Yeah, Telugu.
Very good, very good.
I have the other two talking, but I have to talk to them.
No.
What? I talk more than I should.
You can go
Journalist letter.
Okay, someone from the group, like what we all discussed.
Birthday girl.
Spoken enough.
What did you do? I went to workshop, SSR.
Go. It's well just warm now. Yeah, because you spoke few minutes ago. Go, yeah.
Slow.
Quickly.
Hey, you want my book? You want me to read it? It's not that cheap.
My finger finger. I know, I see it. Yeah, I see the name.
Yeah, so then basically explain about the internet and how you are going to do the story about the internet to the class, so that we can learn something.
Okay, so the internet has helped journalism for a long time. They have there's been less government intervention since we progressed, using journalism through internet. So there's also things like less. It's a cost-effective way to use journalism through internet, and then it's actually just very effective, and so it's also like but then again it's also like there's also it's also kind of like distracting sometimes. There's this advertising, too many advertisements in most pages, and there's too many competitions going on online and stuff like that. So there's that to worry about, and then also there's just so much of fake news going on. There's too much information on the internet when you think about it. Whereas newspapers don't have that.
So how we are going to
Catchy title.
not catch title, how we are going to talk about how the what angle has got selected. The internet has benefited people in many ways.
Yeah, from both the publishers and the audiences side, we'll have to.
Government help you out. Come up,
Yeah.
government will only help you the rest of the class.
I'll stay here.
It's cover, like you want
I don't have much to say. We have to look at this issue from both the publishers and the audience's point of view. I'm not scared. Shy.
Take your podcast.
So from the publisher's side, as she said, it's cost effective. With minimum resources, you can do this. Okay, and also when it comes to the audience's point of view, if you disagree or if you agree or if you have something more to add, you can increase audience interaction through features like the comment section in blogs, videos, everything. And that's very important too. If you want to improve the quality of your article or publication or whatever, if the audience any member happens to point out some weakness, maybe you can work on it the next time to improve the quality. Also considering the fact that there's a lot of competition between media companies and organizations, you can maybe try to outdo them by doing that. What else do we have? It can keep you socially active by,
Yeah.
there's a system of, notifying the audience if something is published on a particular site, so it helps you stay socially active. Go ahead. Active.
So you are a very fidgety class. You are a very fidgety class. I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
The protest thing?
Yeah, so the protests were an example of, keeping socially active.
So,
Yeah, and information goes paperless. So there's that. It's a very environmentally friendly option. And so,
I like those ones, those are the human business. Usually,
yeah, and
what else? Globalization. It
Yeah.
contributes to globalization. As in,
yeah, however, there's also this thing we discussed. There's a, when it comes to the digital divide, it's not always accessible. Like in the newspaper, it's always been around, and people are always. It's just something that's been with us since forever. Whereas technology is something new, and even though it's been around for a long while, even still, it's still not always accessible.
And I also have another point that I just remember. When it comes to digital divide, because of the lack of knowledge, some people are not computer literate, and for them to use internet for journalism, they need to have computer literacy. So even if they actually have the capability, if they are not literate, they cannot engage in journalism. And also you need internet connection facilities, so if you don't have it, you cannot contribute. So those are things.
right. Okay. So I see you all have gone beyond what your space, what you are saying on meeting today, which is good. And then on top of that, you all have come with some unique aspects to it, right? Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to focus that on how, we need to bring the audience to read that. Okay, so the audience, now, we benefit from it, you benefit from it. We are all probably here because of me. Meetings and other things, right? So you all have to structure your article around how the internet has, how these features, because basically features tell, benefits tell. Okay, so benefits of what people get from it. So come up with something that's good. Of benefits of how the internet is changing the world, how the internet is impacting journalism. Good, lot of good that the internet has. So very similar to this that I shared this with you. This is an answer to a short filming, and that is based on the script of about 500 words. Okay, so how food is being based and how use that framework. We talk about the internet because today we are here about I on this case. I want the internet to be deep to that but not like just in the same way, but in a journalist. So and after this we will do another article on a particular cause. So what I learned is in this session about starting on internet, I will take the next then after the next group. There's also I will be yours actually I will be using it's a progressive step towards it. Right, okay, good. So carry on.
What is the information to write?
Sorry?
We're supposed to write.
Yeah, you have to write you a piece of journalism. So if you are going to read that's a step forward.
Like a video script?
Someone can work on the script and one person can say it or both of you can say it. But I want a piece of journalism about the internet. Okay, because I think that's the best way to talk about, to learn about the internet because I can say a few times internet came this day, that day, you all might just forget about it tomorrow. But what you are learning, that's the feature of the internet. What you are studying about the internet, what you are learning about the internet, and what you discover in that process is what will help you for the rest of your life. But the secrets you discover. In that life is a journey, so it's about the journey. So So like you with passion about what you're doing, you will find your own secret strategies which you will use in your careers. So yeah, so continue and we'll see you after. Can we have another volunteer?
Starting from intern, directly. How long?
Can you explain that?
This
Sorry, I can't speak English very well, so I
happens in like 300-400 languages. Go ahead.
මම ඇයිටයි අපි දෙනාම සර්ච් කරේ අන්තර්ජාලයෙන් අපිට ලැබෙන ප්‍රයෝජන මොනවද කියලා වාසි අවාසි මොනවද කියලා තමයි ගොඩක්ම බැලුවේ. එතකොට වාසි විදිහට අපිට කියන්නේ ප්‍රධානම එක තමයි අපිට ඕන වෙලාවට ඕන තොරතුරක් අපිට ඉක්මනට ගන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ data ඕන තමයි. කියන්නේ ඕන දෙයක් අපිට සර්ච් කරලා ඒ වෙලෙම අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක තමයි මම දකින ප්‍රධානම දේ. අපිට දැන් උනත් අපිට මොකක්hari මැප් එකෙන් උනත් අපිට යන්න ඕන තැනක් උනත් අපිට අත්දැකලා හොයා ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි ප්‍රධාන විදිහට මම දකින්නේ. ඒ වගේම ඒකේ අවාසි පැත්තකුත් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දාන නිවුස් එකක් හරි පෝස්ට් එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි ඒක මිනිස්සුන්ට බලපාන විදිහක් තියෙනවානේ. විශේෂයෙන්ම ළමා පරපුර ගත්තොත් ළමයින්ට හොඳ දේවල් තියෙනවා නරක දේවල් තියෙනවා. ඒක යාගේ චරිතයට හානි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. අපි කරන දේ අනුව. එතකොට යාගේ මානසික තත්ත්වය උනත් වැටෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ඒක වැරදි විදිහට විග්‍රහ කරොත් එහෙම. ඒ වගේම තමයි අන්තර්ජාලය කියන එක අප හොඳ දෙයකට පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ළමා පරපුරට වගේ වැඩිහිටියන්ටත් ඒක අදාළයි. මේ ළඟදී වුණත් අපි දන්න පොඩ කැරක්ටර් කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා උමාලියා සිංහවංශ. එයාට ලොකු මඩ ප්‍රහාරයක් ගියා. ඒකට එයා එක කරපු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. හැබැයි ඒක හැමදේම උනේ අන්තර්ජාලය. ඒක එක්කෙනෙක් පෝස්ට් එකක් හදලා දැම්මා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක පැයක් ඇතුළත මුළු ලංකාවෙම භාගයක්ම බැලුවා වගේ වෙනවනේ. එතකොට එයාගේ චරිත ඝාතනයක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. එතකොට එහෙම අවශ්‍ය දේවල් අන්තර්ජාලයෙන් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක දැන් මම ඒක වැරදි විදිහට දාලා ඒක පැයක් යන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. විනාඩි 5ක් ඇතුළත ඒක මේ හැමෝම අතර ෂෙයා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට මම ඒක ආපහු නිවැරදි කරලා එතකොට මම කරක්කු වෙයි. ඒකෙම මිනිස්සුන්ගේ චරිත ඝාතනය සිද්ධ වීමක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. එතකොට තව වාසි විදිහට තමයි මම ළඟදී අර විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ සෙසුවේ කුණාවේ කියා දෙන්නසක් ගත්තා. එයාට කියන්නේ යාගේ මානසික කියන්නේ පීඩනයේ හින්දා තමයි කියලා තමයි අපි දැනගන්න ලැබුණේ. දැන් එයාට කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් හිටියා නම් කියන්නේ යාගේ ප්‍රශ්න ගැන අහන්න කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් හිටියා නම් සමහර වෙලේ ඒ දේ මගහැරෙන්න තිබුණා. ඒක අමතරව අන්තර්ජාලයෙන් යාට දෙයක් ගන්න තිබුණා. කියන්නේ මනස කියන්නේ කාම් සින්දු ටිකක් එහෙම අහුවනම් යාගේ මනස නිරෝධ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ඉස්සර වගේ ඩවුන්ලෝඩ් කර අපි අහන්නේ නැහැනේ. එතකොට අපි කෙලින්ම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකට ගියා YouTube එකට හදුම ඔබට ගියා. ඒ වෙලෙම අපි ලයිව් තමයි ඒක අහන්නේ. අපි ඩවුන්ලෝඩ් කර ඉස්සර වගේ ඩවුන්ලෝඩ් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඉස්සර අයනම් ඩවුන්ලෝඩ් කර හිටියා. එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ මිනිස්සෙගේ මනස සංවර්ධනය කරන්න. එතකොට ඒ කෙනාගේ අර රසාස්වාදයට ඒ වගේ දේවල් වලට ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එක ගොඩක්ම වටිනවා.
Actually have an article inside it, so she had used some examples, references, so stories tell. Story की कथा करते एक बार से एक बात है तो हम तो इंटरनेट पे के थोड़ा पॉजिटिव देवार करने इंटरनेट का आवर क्या नाम देवार दिए ना तो the good things and the bad things दिल्ली में प्रोडक्ट मेंशन करेंगे ना तो एक keywords की का highlight ना हमारे सिंगल आंसर keyword एक आता है ये प्रश्न है गुना के प्रोडक्ट मेंशन करते तो एक our stories को sandwich करो එතකොට මේ මෙහෙම දැක්කා 2019 වල මෙහෙම දැක්කා 2020 වල මෙහෙම දැක්කා හැබැයි මේක false මේක true ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එක කරගෙන අපිට ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එක අපි යූස් කරනකොට මෙහෙමද එන්නේ වලේ ස්ටෝරි එකක් හදන්න පුළුවන් so good very good තව ටිකක් ඒක ප්‍රොසීඩ් කරලා සබ්මිට් කරන්න මම හිතනවා හොඳට ඒක හරිද මේ තව රූල් එකක් can we have another 2 minutes is up by the way. No wrong answers.
So about the article, so the first point was to capture the audience.
Yeah.
So why not start with like how the current usage is like? It says in Google it says it's like 63.1% of the world's population uses the internet now than they used like since last year and all. So we could start with that if it's like an article, a video, whatever it is. And whether it's beneficial depends on the person who uses it. Like if it's someone who could like, if it's someone younger, very beneficial for education and various different sort of stuff. And so like we could also find like pros and cons if found some. So like I said before, internet seems like a positive influence on education. And it's more common among the young generation and has good influence with the education. And like cons and all like cyber attacks and different stuff. So like doesn't like I just quote something like there's this free Wi-Fi in public places and all. There's free Wi-Fi, but it's relatively slow. And sometimes I don't know whether it's true or not, but you could get hacked. I think you could get hacked.
Yeah.
So those are the cons I found out, and there's a security issue with that. And so like, has the internet evolved? Yes, it is. So like, communication-wise, it's easy to communicate, easy to access and all, to gather information and so many things. And you don't have to like spend more time gazing at the screens, big screens and all, like mobile phones, the tip of your fingers, and you don't have to spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Right, no, you're doing very good.
And so that's like about like humanity to the is it a threat? Could be. Like Cambridge researchers have said like it's good for collecting information and learning and all, but then again it also has a dark side because with those underhand dealings and criminal culture and all, so there are sort of researchers also done, so that's what we found.
Right. So how are you going to, what's the message or what's your opinion on that? How are you going to conclude?
It depends on the person who uses it. That's like what I would think about. Like,
Yours a good conclusion. And you're there. You're 99% there. Yours a good conclusion on that. You openly let's say that like these are the statistics. It depends on how yours a conclusion. Like target an audience and give. Target a person and give an input. So that you can do something. You can say like so. Careful when you're letting your kids use it. When you're doing this for them, or like because you're doing it, especially if your cards are linked to your phone. So ransom. You can continue. That was actually very good. So. Yeah, so continue working on that. can submit the article. I think we all should give her a hand. Okay, so continue the article, submit it. I'd like to see it as soon as possible. Okay, next.
I enjoyed that a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, next. Who would like to come first?
How much money will it be?
Only?
Yeah.
I could serious I'm
Yes.
I should also get one. I know.
Sorry if I'm not audible. I tried my best. I'm very nervous. Hands are cold. Probably ice. You don't need to feel that. Put it out there. Okay. So, regarding this, I thought firstly I'll take a good topic. So, I just went around the topic of expose and being exposed. So, two sides of the coin. So, you can expose someone to it, and also you will be exposed to it. So, it's not exactly the most strongest topic, but I just thought maybe to explain that the internet can be used as a medium where you can expose somebody's wrong ways. In the sense, now, if it, I took a great example was the Pandora Tech incident that happened this year, was it? Or last year? Last year. So I thought it was a very good example because the Pandora Papers was very helpful in revealing to people the truth that we don't really know behind governments, behind politicians, behind different, I'm stuttering. Okay.
You're being great already.
No pressure.
As long as you can't see me shaking, it's fine. You know? No, that's what distance is. Yeah. So that's one example of people being exposed. And another thing, that is exposure. Here, being exposed, I took a good example was this TikToker. Her name was Eva Majuri. So New York Times has reported this article. So Eva Majuri was a 15-year-old TikToker. And what happened was she was being stalked by this man who was, I don't know his age. Don't want to know because it's scary. Okay, so she was being stalked by this man, and he told her family that only if they sent her photos of this girl, then he would stop. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough for him, and he had managed to break into this girl's house. And unfortunately, incident happened where the father had shot this man because he deserved it. Right? She's 15. And okay. So I think that gives us a very good idea of how people exposed in a bad way via TikTok. She's on 15. And it also gives us a good idea that you can be influenced really bad through any social media platforms. Or, people can manipulate you very easily. Or you can be manipulated. Now, it wasn't her intention to send photos voluntarily, but she was forced to do that in order to stop this man from interfering in her life. And that's just a breakdown of exposure and being exposed. Another part of it was I was focusing on the cons and pros of internet. So under the pros, a few points that I would like to include was this is completely different. I'm not jumping here. Please excuse me for that. Okay. So back in the day, you know how we would send a fax. You wouldn't know, but just listen. Back in the day, there was something called a fax machine. So if you were, let's say, in Kurunagara and your friend family in Colombo, let's say you have gone to Kurunagara, you need a very important document, but it's in Colombo, and you got to send that document. Unfortunately, there's no email, there's no PDF sending, so you would send it to a fax machine. You just send the script and it goes. But thankfully, you don't have to send papers here and there anymore. Welcome to the modern era. We have technology. Okay. Technology has something called hypertextuality, which means the ability to use a link. For example, if you find a specific content that you wish to share to somebody, rather than sharing, tables and papers through fax machines, nowadays you can send a link. A simple link is enough for them to access the same content you saw, and also immediately. It's an immediate process, right? And that's one of the cons, the pros. Some of the pros. The con that I would like to state is, cyberbullying and scammers. This was mentioned previously, but I thought it was a very good point, so I was just mentioning. There's a ton of scammers on internet, and there's always cyberbullying. Cyberbullying doesn't even happen. You won't even think that it might happen on a large scale, but even the tiniest frame will give space for cyberbullying to occur. For example, just the idea of you watching a fitness page on TikTok. A fitness page would show a very slim lady standing on a scale and it says 58 or 54. But then you go and stand based on what you see and it says 67 or something like that. They must say you have now categorized yourself as overweight or obese. But there's so many factors that we don't know. There's so many factors different, right? The human body differs from person to person. Now, I'll take an example from my life. It's embarrassing, but it's interesting to listen to. So, I also could be not cyberbullying, but a victim of the influence of media. It happens when you look into somebody like this, someone who's very influenceable in a good way. They try to promote, being vegan or being healthy or trying to prevent you from getting diabetes in the future. And you think, oh yes, it's a good idea to stay healthy. But the more you put your mind into this, you don't realize. Without you didn't realize you're influenced by somebody else's opinion on social media. That's how strong it can be. You don't realize it until you come to a point where you realize all my thoughts are not my thoughts alone. They are what social media put into my head. So being strong influence. It can change your perspective of how you view yourself and how you view the world. That is that. And I think that's it.
Right, very good. Continue the story and come up with the ideas of how we can meet the and how that has taken all these stories that would have not got exposed from this come up with the conclusion. We are just Right, I think we have the last room. Go ahead. Help translate. Yeah. So English is fine, or if they want in Tamil,
ඉගෙන ජර්නලිස්ට් කෙනෙක්ට මේ ඉන්ටර්නෙට් through අපිට advantage මොකක්ද challenges මොකක්ද ඒක තමයි අපි බැලුවේ මම හිතන්නේ අපි සර්ච් කරපු දේ ගොඩාක් දවස් ඔයගොල්ලන් කතා කරා පොඩි එක කාරණයක් ගැන මම කියලා එක තියෙන advantage සහ අපිට තියෙන challenge එක කියලා මම මේක අවසන් කරන්න එක තමයි quick feedback අපි මේ ඒක අපිට ගොඩාක් quick feedback කියන්නේ බොහෝ වෙලාවට අපිට ඒක එන්කරේජ් කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කරන වැඩ තව ඉදිරියට මේ වගේ කරන්න ඕන කියන තේනවා. ඒ වගේම තව ඒක තියෙන චැලෙන්ජස් තමයි සමහර වෙලාවට quick feedback එක අපි ඩිස්කරේජ් කරනවා. සමහරට අපි වැරදි මොනවාද තොරතුරු දුන්නාට පස්සේ ඔඩියන්ස් කරන ඒ feedback through අපි සමහරට ඩිස්කරේජ් වෙන අවස්ථා ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. ෆයිනලි අපි කතා කරපු තමයි මේ ඉන්ටර්නෙට් කියන්නේ 99ක් සමහරට 100%ක්ම as a journalist කෙනෙක්ට වටිනවා මේක අපි media ethics through මේක පාවිච්චි කරනකොට 100% මේක ප්‍රයෝජන කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
So good. හැබැයි ඒක වටේට ස්ටෝරි එකක් ක්‍රියේට් කරනවා. හරිද? මේ කොහොමද ඒකේ තියෙන references හරිද? මේ කතා කරලා right to information act එක. දැන් ජර්නලිස්ට් කෙනෙක් කොහොමද මේක වෙන්නේ කියන්නේ ඒක ඕපන් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකේ ලෝකේ වෙනස් කරනවා ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් touch කරනවා පස්සේ තව පොඩ්ඩක් ඒක තමයි ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එක තියෙනවා short and sweet හැබැයි ඒක ආර්ටිකල් එකකට හදවන්න ඕනේ ඒකට ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකම help කරගෙන වරොන් කතා කරනවා මේ ආර්ටිකල් එක ගන්න ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකේ resources අරගෙන ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එක ගන්නවා very angle ඒක හදන්න good very good but තව පොඩ්ඩක් ඒක ආර්ටිකල් එකක් විදිහට structure technical structure කරලා සම්බන්ධ Right. Okay. So then we'll go for lunch. Okay. And we have a work, you know.
No. Yes. No.
So I will do the work then.
Forget about it. Yes.
You can't get away like that.
You got permanent, no? She's not permanent member.
Academy next
Yeah,
week.
employee of economics. That's already smart.
After the news of you big tower.
So many things.
That's the disadvantage of using like things like Grammarly and all, because you get the word
Exactly.
entirely wrong.
No, and it's a word from you, which is a word, so they won't.
It doesn't catch it. But that's why you have editors and subtitles to
But
go.
every mistake you make will make you better. So
Yeah, probably got.
Like Shihar says, every bad press is good press. Any press is good.
Yeah,
Shihar is the editor.
that's probably that concept.
Yes.
Right, so it's 2:35. So when we come back, we will set up the Google. We have to set up a Google Classroom, and we are going to go into some
How long is this?
details. So we are going to go into. We are going to take a look at. We are going to take a look at Google Classroom. How we are going to use Google Analytics. We are going to look at Facebook Ads Manager. We are going to look at WordPress. We are going to look at Google Ads. We are going to look at Google Search and the detail everything as activity. So we are going to look at that. Then we are going to look at Canva, Figma, and Ready. Okay, so yeah, so you keep that in the afternoon. But now it's 12:35. So 12:35, 12:45, 12:55, 1:05, 1:15, 1:20.
You think 10 minutes is that?
Yeah, so 1:20.
Oh, just making sure. Shut up. That's your birthday 10 minutes.
This is for research.
That means I have to draw a short
Look who's talking.
Hey, I am subjectively tall. But objectively? Objectively 5'3", okay? That's it. That's it.
So let's go create.
Shut up.
I know you're
Really?
I read my pathetic every standing around.
What is cutting there?
It's better. It's doesn't lie. Yeah, that's we get life, come to life. Come to back, actually, just come to life.
India.
No, I don't want this
Make sure.
process.
Let me bring my lunch.
So do you come for the workshop?
I love that.
the audience. No,
Tena ada apa?